smackdown on Illya.
He never had a chance to tell her how he felt.
What is this place? This is heaven.
But now, as Charles Wellington,
I got a body! I got a body!
he has a second chance
Why don't you do something positive with your money?
to make a first impression.
Tiger, with y'all.
Chris Rock,
That's how rough riders go. Yo, dog. What?
down to earth,
What?
rated PG-13. Now play.
You ready?
Hey, what the heck was that thing with the rock? What the hell was that? What up, everybody? It's your boy, the Infinite Dragon here. Welcome back to Fate Stay Night. I apologize for this not coming back last week. You know, stuff happened. What ended up happening is that Logan got back to me and he said he was free on a particular day that I was going to play Fate. You know, we ended up hanging out doing SMT4 instead. But here we are doing this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching an archive stream, you should check me out live. Link is always in the description down below, as well as a link to my Discord, which I will let you know what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, that kind of stuff. I'm going for 1K followers on Twitch, so if you're not already following me, please do so. Or if you just prefer to stay on YouTube, that's fine. I'm going for 2K subscribers on YouTube. Make sure you, if you're returning, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're already not subscribed. Where we last left off, we lost our servant. We lost Saber and we lost Archer, which, you know, kind of sucks. Our only hope right now is to go to the small demon child and hope that she helps us out. We're starting off with the interlude. She ponders in the dark by herself. It has already been a day since she attacked the church and killed the priest. It hasn't been a day since she declared that she will not find it no matter where it is hidden, if it exists. It may not be the case for other servants, but there is no way someone as versed in magecraft as her cannot find the holy relic like the Holy Grail. There is only one answer. The Holy Grail never existed in the church to start with. Letting out a small sigh, she puts her fingers on her temple. When she closes her eyes, the heavy darkness weighs heavily on her whole body. That is simply a scream. It is not someone else's. The scream comes from her body and mind, telling her that she is in a critical state of fatigue. It has already been a month since she was summoned. During that time, she has done her best just to win. Her master is an ordinary person without a magical circuit, and she herself is the weakest of the servants. In order to make up for that shortcoming, she abused magecraft that was prohibited. She has been exploiting the citizens. She's been manipulating the ley line using human sacrifices and the threads of magical energy that she placed throughout the town. That is the cause for why she is called a witch when she was alive. But she had never used them before. She should have never used them, and she had no intention of doing the forbidden. So, why did she end up using them for such a meaningless kill fest? She became a heroic spirit for her own revenge. However, she understands that it is meaningless to use magecraft that diminished her to being a witch. She only uses trivial magecraft. It was her creed to inflict certain curses that people refer to as disasters. They could cause people to destroy themselves with their own greed and return to their true selves. That was all the revenge she could manage, so what caused her to stray from her path so much?
すべては聖杯のため。あらゆる望みを叶える聖杯なのだから、気が違うのは当然です。
That is a lie. She knows the true identity of the Holy Grail. She has known what the thing is and for what objective servants like her are summoned for a long time. It is true that most wishes can be granted by the Holy Grail that appear in this town. It could allow her to stay in this world as a physical entity instead of a heroic spirit, thereby allowing her to live a second life as a human. However,
バカね。そんなことに何の意味があるというの。
she mutters and closes her eyes. She empties her mind. For a moment, she temporarily lets her guard down and rests her mind. She hears the sound of rain. It was a moonless night. Her empty heart wanders in the surrounding pitch-black darkness. That is where she met him. The bloody body and frozen limbs. That coincidence was a miracle among miracles. It took place at the mountain that houses Ryodo Temple. Ryodo. Falling rain. She wanders aimlessly in the gloomy, dense forest. She leaves behind traces of blood. In her hand is the dagger that breaks contracts. The purple robe was wet from rain, and her limbs had turned white from the winter rain. She staggers around, holding on to the trees for support. She walked on, dirtied with mud, her breath ragged, reaching out her hand as if asking for help. She did not look like her usual self that is always composed. No, there were not even any remnants of magical energy. She's exhausted. There's only a fistful of magical energy left in her. For a servant, magical energy is like the body that allows them to exist. But she was losing all of that magical energy because her master was not supplying her with any. But that was only natural. She killed her own master just now. That is the sole cause for her exhaustion. She, the servant known as Castor, was trying to disappear into the mountain as compensation for obtaining freedom. A dry laugh. It is funny that her body is falling apart after she stabbed her vulgar master in the back. Moreover, it is also funny how she underestimated her condition with her master. She had done well. Her master was a legitimate master. He was in his 30s and had an average build, but did not have many notable characteristics. He didn't have any intention to fight, but only dreamed of winning. He was a man that only waited for the self-destruction of the other masters in the shadows. The man didn't trust Castor. He disliked Castor as a skilled mage, and he insulted her for being inferior to other servants. She gave up on him after a few days. She acted as an obedient servant and continued to fulfill the man's self-esteem. As a result, she made him use up his command spells on simple, meaningless things. She told him he did not need his command spells. She made him believe that she would pledge her loyalty to her master even without the command spells. In conclusion, it was his fault for believing her. The master used 3 command spells on meaningless things, and he was killed by master at that moment. It was easy. It was unpleasant for her contract with that man to still exist, so she finished him off with a contract breaker. But she had made a mistake. Servants exist using the supply of magical energy from their master, but it isn't just about obtaining magical energy. Servants are only allowed to exist in this age because they are connected to a human from this age. In other words, to lose one's master, their passport to this age, means being deported to the outside world. However, one would not normally be this exhausted. This is the curse that her master left. Her master did not approve of Castor, a mage that is more skilled than him. Therefore, he always kept her magical energy supply at lower level below his own. The amount of magical energy that a human possesses is not enough to keep a heroic spirit in this world. She would normally be able to last 2 days even if she lost her master, but this time is different. Her magical energy was drastically decreasing with every second, and she starts to see the end. Probably a few more minutes. She will disappear if she doesn't find the next master to make a contract with. She's going to disappear before she can even fight, as a pitiful servant that got summoned just to be trampled on, unable to accomplish anything at all. It was vexing. It was vexing, but it was not a big deal. Because it was always like that. She was always treated unfairly. She was always someone else's tool, and she was never understood by anyone. Yes, her life was always controlled by someone else. Her mind was destroyed at a young age in order to save Jason, a hero chosen by the gods. Just for the sake of the hero, the goddess of beauty happened to favor. The goddess cursed her to blindly love a man she did not even know. With a blank mind, she betrayed her father and even her own country. She has no recollection of anything that happened afterwards. After everything was over, the girl, who was once a princess, was in an unfamiliar country. The girl who betrayed her father, the king, for a man. The witch who cut apart her own brother and mercilessly threw the pieces into the sea. The man who wished for that in order to become the king cast aside... What? The man who wished for that in order to become the king cast her aside, saying that he could not marry a witch. She was taken to an unfamiliar country while still being manipulated, was labeled as a witch, and the only person she could ever rely on threw her away. That is her origin. She had nothing to be blamed for, and the people around her understood that. Despite that, the people still demanded that she continue to play the role of a witch. An evil to protect the king. An evil to be on the receiving end of the dark superstitions. They wanted a convenient scapegoat that could blame for any disaster. That system hasn't changed. Humans desire an easily understandable evil so they can reassure themselves of their own goodness. In that regard, she was the perfect scapegoat. The father she could rely on was in a distant country. There was not a single person who defended her, so that people could comfortably blame her for things. How they were poor, how they hate others, how people are ugly, even how people die. They decided that everything was the witch's fault. That's why she just accepted it. Since she can only live as a witch, she decided to live like a witch. She just swore that she would show them how ugly the thing they desired and celebrated was. If people do not know their ugliness, then so be it. They can stay ignorant, go to hell for their own crimes, and suffer forever. They will not be able to get out of hell. They can only suffer as criminals for the rest of their lives, since they do not know what crimes they committed. That is the meaning of existence she has imposed for herself. The role that they gave to the girl who had been called a witch and never had free will. But something like that is not something that someone wished for. That is the same for her. She just continues to seek revenge without any wishes of her own. Yes, until she met this stranger at this moment. A rustling sound. She glares ahead while struggling to remain conscious. It is midnight. What kind of human would come into this forest? It was a heavy voice. She did not even have the composure to check who it was. She just thought it was all over. She had no power to use her magecraft. Her purple robe might have looked like a coat, but she was covered in blood from the waist down. A woman covered in blood is hiding in the rain. It was obvious what this human would do just from seeing that. They would run away first. What would they do after that? They would either report it or pretend they hadn't seen it. Either way, it did not matter to her, as she could not move as she wanted to. That caused the last of her spirit to give out. Her final moment was lonely and cold, just like the end of her true lifetime. Or so she thought. When she regained her consciousness, she was at that place. Sitting in front of her was that human, that man she met in the woods. Those were his first words. When she watched that man with blank amazement,
迷惑だったのなら帰るがいい。忘れろと言うなら忘れよう。
The man tells her in a tone of voice that doesn't change. That was how she met her master, Soichiro Kuzuki. Kuzuki was a strange man. She to be called the ghost. He had no reason to live, but he had no reason to die. He was just there, and since he existed, he just did what was given to him. He had no self. That was her first impression of him, so she thought it would be easy to turn him into a puppet. She gradually realized that was a mistake. Soichiro Kuzuki has no past. He has no self because he has no past, but it does not mean that Kuzuki himself is empty. In reality, Kuzuki was a sincere man. He easily accepted her when she told him that she wanted him to be her master and when she revealed her identity.
このような話を信じるのですか?
If she asked, "Do you believe such a
今
story?"
のは嘘なのか?
he replies with, "Was that a lie?" Of course, if she replies to him that it is the truth, then he would accept it. She was able to stay in the world by gaining a new master and was able to return to her role as a witch. Even now, she thinks that was a miracle. She would have disappeared before she awakened if she had not been taken to the Ryodo Temple. Ryodo Temple is a demonic place for servants, that is a perfect place for summoning once inside. The bounded field that surrounds Ryodo Temple is useful for keeping any inhuman beings inside from disappearing. She was saved right before she was going to disappear because she was brought to Ryodo Temple. If it had been a different place, she would have vanished after being taken there. As a result, she found the best ley line in an impregnable defense. She was easily able to take over Ryodo Temple, figured out the mechanism of the Holy Grail, and summoned Assassin as the fifth servant. But such things are trivial matters. She was certainly lucky that night. Many miracles saved her, and now victory is within her sight. But none of it is worth her thanks. If there were nothing, she would have been just as content to give up. There was just one thing that was really important. A very small matter that is not important for anyone else. The coincidence that she was able to meet Soichiro Kuzuki is a miracle beyond belief. But even that's not going well. No, she cites that nothing she does goes well. Her master won't be happy even if she does such a thing like this. He has not had any interest in the Holy Grail from the start. If he had a clear wish, she would do her best to grant it, but Soichiro Kuzuki has none. A one-sided relationship. They do not get along well. Even the fact that their relationship is like that shows that things aren't going well.
ミイラ取りがミイラになったか。希代の魔女というのも案外脆いものだな。
He turns to the intruder. It is not her master standing there. It is the knight in a red cloak, Archer, whose identity is still unknown.
アーチャー、あなたには外の見張りを任せたはずですが。
ああ、それがな、ざっと見たところ、周囲に敵という敵がいない。退屈を持て余してね、中の様子を見に来たのだ。
それはそうでしょうね。私たちの敵はバーサーカーだけよ。それもセイバーさえ陥落すればこちらから撃って出るだけ。あなたが私たちに寝返った時点でもう敵なんていないのよ。あなたもそれが分かっていたからこそこちらに着いたのではなくて。
さてどうかな。私はあのマスターと契約を切りたかっただけとは思わないか。あのマスター以外なら契約者は誰でもよかったと。
Excuse me. Archer's frivolous talk had some truth to it. But what does that mean? Does that mean Archer had no intention of betraying, but betrayed his master only because he wanted to break his contract with Rin Tosaka?
そう。小娘のお守りはごめんということ。 確かに私たちサーバントは総じてマスターに不満を持つわ。あなたが愛想を尽かすのも当然でしょうね。
いや、召喚者として彼女は完璧だった。ただ少しばかり狂いが生じただけだ。それとキャスター、一つ忠告しよう。あらゆるサーバントが君と同じだとは思わないことだ。少なくともセイバーとバーサーカーは主に不満を抱いてはいなかった。正しい英雄というものはね、正しい人間にしか刺激できないものなんだ。
何を今さら。ねじ曲がったマスターだからこそねじ曲がった英霊を呼ぶ。そのようなことあなたに言われるまでもないわ。
That is right. The quality of a servant changes depending on the summoner. Summoners with dark shadows in their mind cannot summon heroic spirits who are on the side of light. In that regard, she and Ryder are not heroic spirits. A twisted summoner calls for twisted heroic spirits. Just as Ryder was once a beautiful being, so too was Caster once a pure being. It is ironic that heroic spirits that Caster summoned was a fictional hero.
しかし考えてみればおかしな話だな。君やライダーは英霊に敵対するものだろう。にもかかわらずサーバントとして選ばれている。まあ聖杯には善悪の区別はない。力のある人間霊なら誰であろうと組み上げるということか。
いいえ、本来そんな英霊としての側面もあるものなんて混ざり物は選ばれない。この戦いがおかしくなったのは3度目からよ。それまでは私やライダーのような英霊は呼ばれなかった。
That does not concern her now. She is also not interested in the true nature of the Holy Grail. Her mission as the servant that goes by Caster is only to win this war. She's not interested in what comes after. No, to be honest, that is not the end she wishes for.
無駄話はここまでよ、アーチャー。持ち場に戻りなさい。あなたが何を考えているかはどうでもいいわ。あなたはすでに私のサーバント。その命は私の手の中にある。それを肝に銘じて口を聞きなさい。
了解した。では従順なサーバントらしく主の期待に応えるとしよう。
The knight in red goes up the stairs with an unchanging tone of voice. She watches him in silence and takes a deep breath. One more day until Saber surrenders. She has not been able to find the Holy Grail as of yet, but she will be one step closer to the end once Saber joins her ranks. What will happen once the war ends? Caster shall make every wish come true with that power. Continuing to live as a witch, just as she swore to when she was alive, wouldn't be so bad. But there will be no reason once the war ends. Even if she still has the will, her owner will have no reason to be her master anymore.
あと少しで聖杯はこの手に収まる。
Caster extends her pale hand into empty space. Her long and hard work is about to be rewarded, but her expression is like that of a criminal who is about to be executed. I saw many corpses. I died at that time and was reborn. I don't have repentances about the path I took. My eyes lost their hatred. My hands lost their anger. My feet lost their hope. And I lost myself there. I lost everything. It is not because I gave up that I accepted that nothing would be saved. I just found out that it's natural. It's just that dying people will die and survivors will survive. I laid down on the mountain of rubble and gazed at the spreading ruins. I understood everything then. I thought I understood everything, but I still thought about it. If I can save everything here, how wonderful that would be. That is what I admired. I just thought that it would be nice if no one had to suffer. I tried to become a hero of justice for that sake. It was easy to understand and it seemed like an ideal way to live. That's why I aimed for it. I could see where I had to be and there are many ways to get there. I just kept running, wanted to get as close to it as possible, even though I didn't know what was right or wrong. Many paths that I took were crooked, and my destination was only getting farther away. I'm taking the long way. I've been repeating this for 10 years since I got saved by Kiritsugu. But I won't regret it. I'm not skilled like Tosaka. I will take the wrong path and lose many things at times, but I can't disregard them as meaningless. I have to show meaning for why I survived for the sake of things I have trampled over and things that won't come back. I won't lose for that sake. It can't be helped if I lose against others, but I can win against myself. I can always resist against my mind that says to give up. That's all I swore upon. There's only one thing that I believed in and wanted to believe in. Yes. Even if I'm walking down the wrong path, I will not regret believing in it. I'm awakened by the light pouring in from the outside. It's before 6 a.m. The sky outside the window is cloudy, as if sprinkled with ashes. I get ready and leave my room. My body is in good condition. How? Weren't you like fucked up last time? And there is not much pain in my wound anymore. I shouldn't be a burden to Tosaka like this, even if we were to engage in battle. I don't think. Have we ever seen her in glasses? I'm ready, but Tosaka has transformed.
何よ、地雷踏んで動けなくなった新兵みたいな顔して。まだ準備できてないの？
いや、そうじゃなくて、父さがなんか変じゃないか。
ああ、これ細かい作業の時にかけるだけだから気にしないで。
Wow. I guess that's fine if she says so. I wonder what kind of magecraft this is to make that makes it look so wrong yet so right.
いい？私たちが向かうのは郊外の森。町からはるかに離れた市街。まだ人の手が入っていない広大な樹海よ。長年人間の介入を拒んできただけあって、森は深くて広いわ。年に何人か何の準備もなしに踏み込んで遭難したって話知ってるでしょ？
I nod silently. Our destination is the Ironsborn Villa that is said to be somewhere in that forest. That girl. Our fate is decided the moment our negotiation with Illya's veil breaks down and we end up fighting. We can't call for help and it will be difficult to run away. We can't escape from the forest alive if we don't defeat that giant berserker.
じゃあ、そろそろ行きましょう。徹夜して場所に当たりはつけといたから、うまくすれば半日ぐらいで見つけられるはずよ。とりあえず国道までは車を使うから、タクシー代用意しといて。
She picks up a Boston bag full of things and starts walking. I go after her with my bamboo sword, bag in one hand. But Tosaka, money for a taxi is fine, but does this mean we'll be walking on the way back home? We ride the taxi for an hour from town. We ride an endless highway, passing several mountains, and reach the entrance of the forest. Of course, there are no paved roads in the forest. We walked about 1 kilometer from the highway and finally reached the entrance to the forest. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I can't help but get nervous once I actually face it. The forest is dark even though it's daytime. Tall branches that cover the sky shut out the sunlight, and it's hard to see more than 10 meters ahead, let alone the end of the forest.
ちょっとシロ、悪いけど先に進んでみてくれない？
いいけど、あの子の居場所を知ってるのは遠坂なんだろ？俺が先に行っても仕方がないと思うわ。
I complain as I enter the forest. Then...
なんだ、ビリッときたぞ。
I pulled back my foot reflexively. I only felt numb for an instant. The numbness itself is subtle, and it hurts way more than a stubbed toe on a dresser. That sucks. Well, it's basically like static shock.
やっぱり識別だけだろうけど、森全体に管理が行き届いてるみたいね。
ちょっと待て。それまずいんじゃないのか。要するに防犯ベルに引っかかったってことだろ。なら
別に問題ないんじゃない？私たちは奇襲に来たわけじゃないもの。話し合いに来たんだから、むしろ今からアピールしておいた方が得でしょ。
一応気をつけろよ。ちょっとビリッとくるから。
分かってる分かってる。シロの見てたからどんなものか分かってるって。
Tosaka waves her hand and steps into the forest. At that moment, Tosaka lets out a funny scream and jumps back. I hear crackling electricity. I want to believe that it's my imagination that the leaves piled up under Tosaka's feet are scorched.
個人差がある警報みたいだな。俺には挨拶程度だったけど。
That didn't happen last time, did it? I calmly explained the situation. But it doesn't seem like Tosaka is listening to me.
やってくれるじゃないあのガキ。今笑ったの確かに聞こえたんだから。
Tosaka yells at the empty space where there isn't anyone. I don't know where that line went, but her threatening attitude seems like she might just go fight instead of talk. Well, anyway, it seems like talking bad about Tosaka is fatal no matter how far away you are from her, so I should be careful. We walk through the forest. We're the only living humans among these infinite trees. I don't hear a breathing. Sorry. I don't hear breathing of any beast, and the plants in the winter are as lifeless as corpses. The endless sea of trees that seem to go on forever make me constantly feel apprehension. It's already been 3 hours since we entered the forest. It's way past noon, and just as I have become unable to tell whether there have been any changes in the landscape.
見つけた。って聞いてはいたけど呆れたわ。本気でこんなところにあんなものを建てるなんて。
I followed Tosaka's line of sight. There's only darkness ahead. Between the trees, there is some incredibly out-of-place thing that can only be seen through the cracks that are so small they could easily be missed by anybody who doesn't pay close attention.
壁よ。まったくどうかしてるわ。あれ、自分たちの国から丸ごと持ってきたものよ。
Tosaka curses and heads to the strange object we see in the distance. I follow after her, still bewildered, unable to grasp what it is. We get out of the forest. The forest that seemed to be endless abruptly ends. No, it seems like the traces of the forest vanished, and if they carved out just this part with a big spoon. The gray sky curving above us is so high that I can't see everything. The huge dome-like space. It is more like an underground kingdom instead of an open space. That was Illya's dwelling. The old castle built in the middle of the forest. It is a solitary castle in the forest that has no visitors. It's too big for that girl to live in, and it's too lonely to live in alone. Anyway, it does no good to falter here. According to Tosaka, Illya's knows that we came here. Then we should go confidently from the front entrance to show that we don't have any enmity.
よし、行くぞ、遠坂。って、遠坂？
Tosaka looks up at the castle with an alarming expression. Her side profile looks as tense as it does, as tense as it does when she's confronting an enemy.
登坂、気になるもんでもあったのか？
私たち以外に誰かいる。
Oh?
そりゃいるだろう。イリアってことバーサーカーの住処なんだから。
そうじゃなくて、それ以外の誰かってことよ。シロ、こっちから入るわよ。
ちょっとお前。
Without a chance to stop her, Tosaka starts running to the big tree by the wall. No, that's not all. Tosaka grabs onto a branch and skillfully climbs up. I look up in astonishment. Tosaka looks around the castle and she jumps and kicks in the castle's second floor. A shattering sound. A window breaks and the red figure disappears into the castle. Well, I mean, that was cool and all, but why did she do that?
Hora, 早く。本気でおかしいわよ、この城。
Oh?
もう話し合いをするんじゃなかったのかよ。
But what's done is done. I also climb the tree and jump into the second floor of the castle like Tosaka. I wonder if I can still climb a tree. I'll go out into the hallway from the room we invaded. Before I can even marvel at how magnificent the place is, the abnormality Tosaka mentions earlier grabs my attention. The sound echoing is definitely the sound of a battle. This is the sound of swords clashing. But is a storm-like sword fight even possible? Even the most intense sword fight that I've witnessed so far, the one between Saber and Berserker, didn't make these kinds of sounds. Then I suddenly realized, this doesn't sound like your average sword fight. This is one against many. There is literally a war going on somewhere in this castle. There's no doubt that one of them is Berserker. This castle is Illya's castle. If a battle were to occur, it would only be when Berserker is attacking an intruder. I start running. The sounds are echoing from below. Judging from where the sounds are coming from relative to our entry point, the battle is in the center of the castle, in the reception hall. I run through the unfamiliar castle. This isn't the time to be exchanging opinions. I don't know what's happening, but it feels like it will lead to permanent consequences. I'll run down the stairs. The fierce sword fight is happening close by.
ここ、広間の吹き抜けに繋がってる。
Tosaka checks the end of the passage. The hallway splits at a T-junction and both seem to lead to the terrace at either side of the hall.
ここで別れましょう。私はこっちから様子を見るから、シロはそっちからお願い。
Oh, yokata. No, it's, Wokai, that's what I wanted. It's better to split up than stay together in one place. With the way we are now, we don't have any... Has that ever been true? Is there ever a reason to split up? In fiction? Like, I cannot think of a single moment in fiction where splitting up is the correct choice. With the way we are now, we don't have any way to escape if we're found. We don't stand a chance either way, to be split up. If we split up, even if one was found, there's a hope that the other can manage to escape somehow. But neither of you would leave the other one here, so like, why? That's not... whatever. Tosaka goes down the hallway facing east. I nod and go down the other hallway. The other hallway on the other side facing west. She suddenly stops me.
分かってるわね。何が起きようと絶対に手は出さないで。今の私たちに戦う手段はない。いい？やばいと思ったらすぐに逃げるのよ。どちらかが捕まっても構わず走って。誰かを助けるなんて、まず自分を助けてから考えることなんだから。
Okay, but you know him and you know he's not going to do that. Her voice is suppressing her emotions. That sounded more like a plea than a warning. I go around and come out to the I go around and come out to the end. Reading is hard. I go around and come out onto the terrace of the lobby. I see Tosaka emerge from the opposite side of the terrace far away. She immediately takes cover and peeks out to see what's going on while hiding. The instant we look down the hall, we both suppress our voices.
なんだってあいつこんなところに。
Shinji stands at the top of the rubble in the corner of the lobby, observing the spectacle with joy. No, that's not it. That's not the surprising thing. Right now, the truth that I have to accept right now is the battle between Shinji's. Right now is the battle that Shinji is observing. The black giant lets out a roar. The swinging axe sword stirs up a cloud of dust and crushes the rubble into powder. Berserker is no different than before. No, his blood-curdling roar doesn't compare to what it sounded like before. Behind the giant is a pale white girl, Berserker's master Illya's veil. That girl that was always smiling innocently and unfit for a kill fest, that girl is now shivering and staring at her own servant about to cry out. Her pale face is desperately trying to deny the despair in front of her. Someone help me. That's what the trembling lips of the Snow White girl seem to say. A whirlwind blows violently. Berserker's axe sword is repelled each time. In the center of the hall, by the noble phantasm of one servant reigning the throne of rubble. Oh, so this asshole was Gilgamesh the whole entire time. Why is he dressed like that? The countless number of swords dance. Each one of the weapons appear behind the man are undeniably a fatal weapon. They pierce through, like hot water. The bottomless noble phantasm destroys Berserker's body as if repelling his axe sword wasn't already enough. His limbs fly off. The sword cuts through his body, penetrate his head, and pierce his heart. But he still does not die. The giant revives after each instantaneous death that he suffers and resolutely advances towards his enemy. 8 times already. Berserker moves. He can die 12 times, I think? Berserker moves forward, while being killed mercilessly that many times. The enemy welcomes him with a smile. The repeated tragedy. Berserker is killed many times, unable to get close to his enemy.
Buck.
It's not because Berserker is being defeated without being able to do anything. That man, that servant is beyond belief. After all the noble phantasms that are repeated infinitely are real. I can tell since I have projected Archer's swords. Those are the original versions of every noble phantasm that the ones from before they became legends. Who could he be? Being a heroic spirit who's able to retain so many weapons. No, first of all, there should be 7 servants. Then he's the 8th one. Is he the one who shouldn't exist? I can't breathe. Berserker is nothing less than a stone. A body made of steel that has superhuman strength. On top of that, he can regenerate on the spot, even if he dies. He's not an opponent that can be matched. The 8th servant doesn't retreat from such a monstrous opponent and overwhelms Berserker with the repeated magic swords and holy swords. When I look up, Tosaka's face on the side was also pale. It's only natural. The space below us is the land of death. We'll die instantly if we enter it. No, more than that. He is a demon. A different atrocity than Berserker. This man lacks order and wishes for battles only for the objective of killing. But even with such an unusual enemy in front of him, the Black Giant is still the strongest. His steps don't cease, even if his whole body is pierced or cut up. He receives the rain of noble phantasms, regenerates each time, and surely closes in on his enemy. It is an advanced devoid of tactics. He's not thinking of any ways of countering his enemy's attacks. He moves forward as long as he's alive. It is a savage battle about just killing the enemy. He will not reach the enemy. Berserker's brute courage will prove futile, and his life will end just as a mere target. The enemy understands that. That's why he stopped on purpose, and is just provoking the giant that foolishly moves forward. There is no chance of victory for the Black Giant with this method. It's something that the man confronting him and I looking as an outsider can tell. And most likely, even Berserker himself, who is being used for target practice, must have realized the same thing a while back. Yet the giant keeps stupidly moving forward. He knows no retreat and doesn't try to avoid the attacks. That man welcomes the figure with a smile.
所詮はバーサーカー。戦うだけのものであったか。同じ半身として期待していたが、よもやそこまでアホとはな。
The noble phantasms appear. Roaring with laughter, the man commands the noble phantasms behind him.
では、そろそろ引導を渡してやろう。これ以上近づかれては暑苦しい。
At his signal, the numerous noble phantasms attack the giant. The giant repels a majority of them, and at the same time, a majority of them take his life. What's annoying? I can't check the other archer. I want to check the other archer. The black giant shakes. The body of rock starts to fall. But the giant holds out and shakes off the noble phantasms clinging all over his body. The astonishment comes from that man. The black giant gets rid of the swarm of noble phantasms and closes in on his enemy. His body is already a corpse. The black giant advances with what should be a hopelessly fatal wound. That is the result of a strong will. It is not that man is due to being berserker. The giant is facing this hopeless battle with a strong will.
でかいだけの的が未だ形をとどめるか。
The magic bullets are fired mercilessly, repelling them with his axe sword. The giant closes in on the man that has a body slashed and his legs pierced. He most likely won't reach the man, yet for him to still challenge himself while understanding that he must have something that he cannot give up. What is he moving forward for? The servant fights for his master to protect her life. That is why the giant did not retreat. He could only move forward as a shield to protect his master behind him, the frightened girl from the reign of noble phantasms. The giant resumes his foolish advancement. It is because he knew that he could only defeat the enemy while he protecting Illya's veil by taking all of the attacks himself. And if he is able to reach his enemy, then that is when he wins. It was that kind of battle from the start. That man has to kill the black giant before he reaches him. And the giant has to approach the man before his life ends. This is a battle where whoever accomplishes their goal first survives. The giant is aware of that, even if that is a battle that he has no chance of winning from the start. Coming out of his 10th death, the black giant runs. He charges toward the man, stirring up rubble like a bull challenging a matador. Numerous arrows are released. Did he get used to it from the repeated deaths, or was his final charge? The giant repels all of the arrows and closes in on the owner of the noble phantasms. The axe sword is swung. And the strong sword that had not been swung at that man at all zips through the air with a flash. The black bull is captured by numerous chains that appear. What kind of noble phantasm is it? The chains that suddenly appear in the mid-air lock up Berserker as if binding space itself. Seems like negotiations didn't go well, considering that we didn't get the chance to negotiate at all. The chains tighten Berserker's arms and twist them into every direction. As the chains wrap around his whole body, they continues to get tighter and even try to squeeze his rock-like neck off with tension.
これでも死なぬか。かつて天の王子すら束縛した鎖だが、お前を仕留めるには至らぬらしい。
The man's voice. The hall is filled with the creaking sounds of chains. It must be Berserker's strength. The giant tries to cut off the chains that control space itself. Even if it initially sounds impossible, there is no doubt that the giant can accomplish it. And of course, the man understood that as well. And the girl screams. Illya uses a command spell to command Berserker to retreat by force, but the giant is still captured by the chains and unable to move an inch.
私の中に帰れって言ったのに、どうして？
無駄だ人形。この鎖に繋がれた者はたとえ神であろうと逃れることはできん。いいな。神性が高ければ高いほど餌食となる。もとより神を律するためだけに作られたもの、霊樹による空間転移など、この俺が許すものか。
He said Ningyo, and I'm gonna look up that word real quick. Ningyo is puppet. The reason why I looked it up is because it's similar to the word human, which is ningen. And then, the man points to the giant as if to signal the end. As an astonished girl's voice. It's over. This time it really ends. Bounded by the chains and therefore unable to defend himself, he gets annihilated by the noble phantasm 22 times. Damn! The black giant goes silent as he is forced to assume the shape of what can only be described as a strange statue. There is no need to even check whether he's breathing or not. Even if he is a great hero that overcame 10 deaths, he should not be able to get back up after experiencing over 20 deaths. Yes, even if he's still alive, the giant should not have enough strength to even breathe. And the battle ends. It was known from the start who was going to win. Berserker could not win against that servant. No servant could be a match for that man as long as they are heroic spirit. Heroic spirits each have their own weaknesses, which have been preserved from their time as living beings. By extension, each servant's origin story is their weakest point. Then, what would be the result of having a heroic spirit face off against someone who possesses all of the noble phantasms, including the one that ended their life as a human? This is the result. Even if he may have been the stronger hero, he cannot win against that man as long as he is a heroic spirit. The ghostly white girl runs to the black giant that became a corpse, and that man mercilessly slashes the girl with a sword in his hand. She screams. The man takes away typo. The man takes away the girl's vision with a single horizontal strike. What the fuck? Around the next attack, the aim is to stab her heart. But that misses. No, he missed on purpose. The girl is pierced in the lung and she coughs up blood. The chains are broken. The black giant breaks through the chains and launches an attack on the man. The man stabs the slow-witted target. The spear pierces his heart. He finishes off the giant with a spear similar to Lancer's noble phantasm, Gaybald. Then it ends. Again, the black giant dies for sure this time. Are you sure? The sword is pulled out from the collapsed girl, leaving traces of red behind. The girl crawls to the giant that is no longer moving. Watching in the light, the man walks forward. He threw away his sword. He will use his bare hands to finish off the dying girl. I'll die. Yeah, see? I told you. There was no point in even saying some shit like that to him. I'll probably die. I'll die for sure this time. That servant has no logic. He will kill anyone in his way. If I don't get away from here before he finds me, I'll surely be killed. So I... stop the man and die. My frozen body bursts out. My feet lift me up, and my arms grab the railing at the same time. I see Tosaka's face as I do so. She is biting her lip in frustration, glaring at the tragedy happening below us. Actually, I should read that down. I know. It's obvious Tosaka wants to stop him as well. But we'll be the ones killed if we do so. There's no way we can stop him. That goes the same for me. I know that it's stupid of me to die trying to save the dying girl. I don't care about that. I can't leave that girl be. That's what overtakes my mind. I jump over the railing. Tosaka and Shinji both look at me in surprise at the intruder, but the man didn't even see me jumping down. The man reaches out to the girl in white. I yell at the top of my lungs. I stop him with all my might. The man stops his arm and then that he tried to extend, and slowly he turns toward me by the wall like a grim reaper who has found his new prey. Okay, I guess that was the right choice. This is an interlude. Going back over a month, he was summoned to this world before anyone else. He was not summoned to this country, a faraway foreign country. The ground is constantly covered in white, the sky is always gray, and the castle is built hidden in the mountains. It is always winter in that land. Coldness and stagnation, barrenness and longing. They are like living corpses, cutting off their connection with the present world and waiting for the reproduction of a miracle. The winter coldness takes away their human warmth. In the stagnant world, the world won't allow them a new lifestyle. His family were seekers of the Holy Grail. Spring won't come for the Einsburn family until the day their dearest wish is fulfilled. It has already been 10 centuries since they started the search for the Holy Grail. After using every possible method to get close to the Holy Grail, they were eventually able to cast the Holy Grail out of iron. However, all they could make was the vessel. No mystic dwelled within it, and they kept casting vessels that would never be filled. Before foreseeable end comes to those days, they performed a ritual to fill the vessel with the help of outsiders. The result was both a success and a failure. The Holy Grail was made. Through this, the Holy Grail would be filled. But it made many enemies at the same time. Even as the supposed owners of the Holy Grail, they were reduced to mere providers of a service, no better than any other mage. Their tenacity is abnormal. No, ever since they almost obtained the Holy Grail 1,000 years ago, they had lost their minds. They broke the rules and constantly pulled the strongest card. The first time, they did not have the leeway to do so. The second time, they finally found a loophole in the rules. The third time, they summoned what they shouldn't have. Then the fourth time, they were sure of their victory after getting the strongest card and its manipulator. The results were a crushing defeat like never before. Of all the servants and masters, they chose the ones who betrayed them. The man destroyed the Holy Grail, leaving his daughter behind in the Winter Castle. They were furious at that man's betrayal and lamented their mistake. They could not trust outsiders after all. Only one of their bloodline, their family's creation, who had inherited magic circles perfected over generations, could obtain the Holy Grail. They had a backup plan to start with. Then the fifth time, they made certain they prepared their strongest master and servant. That was him. 2 months before the Holy Grail started, every rule was broken for him, Berserker to be summoned beforehand. The days that followed were only to hurt the human that would become master. The command spell engraved all over the girl's body was only to control Berserker. It did no good as a magical circuit and drained her life away. Even just a slight move by the Berserker would make the girl scream. It's no wonder. It was 2 months until the Holy Grail would appear. The only thing keeping this great hero in this world was her magical energy and command spell. Berserker was not created from the magical energy of the Holy Grail. No matter how special she is, keeping Berserker using only her magical energy is like taking her own life away. Knowing that, they still did not allow for her to rest. They abandoned them in the winter forest filled with a pack of hungry beasts. They gave them over to the corpses possessed by evil spirits. They were even thrown to the wasteland where they disposed of their failed experiments. The only way for a girl to survive was to rely on the giant, the only thing that she had been given. It was beyond training. It was a fight for survival, yet the girl survived. She had the giant attack the oncoming enemies. Every time, she would let out screams of anguish, but had him ceaselessly eliminate everything that attacked. He himself does not know when that process became a special one to him. Despite the girl's young appearance, she hated whining. Everything that came out of her mouth was an insult. She must have instinctively known that if she was going to lament, she should become stronger if she hated the cause. The girl despised Berserker for being ugly and cursed his existence. It was natural. The girl would not have to suffer if he had not existed. She would not have been thrown into such a hell if she had not been chosen as master. The girl detested the giant for everything and used him as an outlet for her anger. The girl got used to controlling Berserker, and by the time the Holy Grail showed signs of its appearance, the pain that attacked her disappeared. The girl took away reasoning from the giant as if in revenge, treating him as a mute, mad warrior. But he already knew that was the girl's utmost resistance. By doing so, the girl hid her own weakness. That she could live by herself. She held her head high since she didn't need any allies that she could trust or friends that she loved. That was her way of distinguishing that she had nothing to call her own. In the winter forest, the girl hesitantly touches his arm, stained red from the enemy's blood. Surrounded by a pack of beasts, the girl braced for death even as she desperately denied it. At that time, he was not able to move without an order from his master, so he was the first to become the beast's prey. The pack of beasts pierced his arteries, tendons, and eyeballs with their fangs. The girl screamed seeing that. He couldn't remember what she said then, since he had his reasoning taken away. But the girl screamed not for her sake, but for his. Even though he destroyed her arm every time he swung his own, she endured it so that she did not die. That's why both of them were covered in blood. The giant was covered in the slaughtered beast's blood, and the girl was covered in her own blood. He remembers that winter forest. The weight of the girl that leaned on him crying tears of pain. And he realized it. In that small, cold castle, a black giant was the only one the girl talked to. She comes into view. It was the same as that time. The girl is running to him crying. She had not seen since he had become a master. Since she had become a master, excuse me. And the man slashes her. With a horizontal flash, the blonde enemy takes away the girl's vision. Her face is covered in red. The blind girl runs in spite of that, tripping over rubble. The slender body fails. Stop saying slender. There. The enemy's sword is swung. The sword misses her heart. Her lung must have been pierced, as the girl is coughing up blood still on the ground. It is not an instant death, but it is fatal. The girl is left with nothing as her vision is taken away. Her lungs are broken, and she even lost her servant. If she could die peacefully, it might at least be salvation if she could just go to sleep right there. However,
痛いよまさか
the girl is moving forward, leaving a trail of blood behind. She crawls toward the black giant, fumbling and crying in anguish. How much power was left in him? He breaks his chains with all his might and grabs at the man. The magical spear is thrust. The spear pierces the giant's heart. And it ends. The man pulls out the spear as if nothing happened, and the remaining power in the giant completely disappears. His body disappears. The power that was giving him form had completely disappeared. Then all that was left to him is to disappear. The servant lost all of his magical energy and has no power to stay in this world any longer. He falls to the ground. But in this final moment, he sees the girl fumbling around for him in his peripheral. Strength returns to his collapsing legs. The law of magecraft that built him. The regulation of the world that hates inconsistencies. And the body of a rock that crumbles away for his sake.
バーサーカーは強いね
He pushes away every power that tries to eliminate him just with his will. I can't disappear yet. He's probably the only one who she could rely on. In order to support the lonely girl who insulted him, she believed in him as her only
ど
reliance.
こわかんない真っ暗で何もわかんないよバーサーカー
With her vision taken away, the girl is crawling with her arms stretched out. She must have wanted to feel him as she cannot see him now. Her hand covered in blood groped at an empty space, trying to verify his existence. There is no power left in him. There is nothing he can do. Berserker will fall here and die. His body has died, and he has no strength to support his falling body.
だから私は安心だよどんなやつにだってバーサーカーさえいれば負けないもの
But not this time. His mind is dead. Supporting his body with the mind and the will that should no longer exist, he leaves this world. His body has not fallen, still invincible. As if to say that his body cannot give up until it ends for the sake of that girl that relies on him. And the girl reaches for him. The hand that was only grasping in the air finally touches something. Coughing up blood, the girl clings onto the hard body. She cannot see anymore, but she can still feel him. Berserker hasn't lost. She cannot see for herself, but Berserker is strong as always.
よかったずっとそこにいてねバーサーカー
Strength fades from her body. Everything hurts and she's scared, but it's alright as long as he's here. He's always protected her. He was scary, but he was really nice. His big body is like a father's, so she really wanted him to pick her up at least once.
辛くても怖くないよバーサーカーは強いんだもんこうしていてくれれば私は安心できるから
She rests her body on him. She feels like a hard and big hand is placed on her head. It's probably true. He should be patting her head as if she opens her eyes.
ちょっと寒いね
Her body is cold, recalling the forest from that time. The girl laughs. It was a long time ago already. Recalling the giant that protected her even while getting injured, she happily falls and loses consciousness. You know, I dislike this character, but man, that was sad. It was sad, and you have no reason to dislike that character. She's a little child. Also, hi, Rocket Pal. How long have you been here? I need to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry, the coffee just runs through me, you know what I mean? All right, let's see. Write down the timestamp. The man reaches out to the girl in white, who peacefully fell asleep. I yell at the top of my lungs. I don't consider my own danger or what could happen to me. The man stops his arm that he tried to extend. Behind him is Shinji, surprised at my intrusion. He smiles ominously. My shaky throat speaks before I can think. However, there is no way that man will stop. I couldn't even tell him to stop. The man pulls something out of the girl's body with his bare hands, but the smile still on his face. A red dripping object that looks like a fruit. The thing in his hand is, without a doubt, the girl in white's. Damn, he ripped out her fucking heart like a Mortal Kombat fatality. My mind burns down. I lose my sanity, and fear of being killed and hatred of wanting to kill him gets muddled.
観客がいたか。俺の勇姿を見たいという気持ちはわかるが。
The man still holding the red thing in his right hand.
身の程をわきまえろ。王に命じるとは何事か。雑種。
He fires one of his countless noble phantasms at me. The terrace falls. The man's noble phantasm goes through the wall of the castle and destroys the hall's walls. I don't move a step in the midst of it all. I don't care about the rubble that falls from above. I don't have the composure to run, and I have no intention to run. It doesn't matter whether a big piece of rubble grazes my back. I can't think of tearing my eyes off of that man right now.
ほう。何かと思えば、セイバーのマスターとはな。
His red eyes react to my enmity. My blood boils. I'll die in the next instant. There's no way I'm not afraid of that. But my body refuses to run away and keeps screaming to defeat the enemy right now. The corpse of a girl that was killed mercilessly keeps ordering me not to forgive him. It's only natural for me to lose all reasoning. My mind turns from the contradiction desires of life and death.
戦う意志はあるようだが、話にならん。肝心のセイバーがいないのでは、貴様などに価値はない。
A sword appears in the man's left hand. The sword is raised mercilessly and should come down to kill me. Even then, I keep staring at the enemy. I can't think of showing my back to that man.
ちょっと待てよ。そいつさ、僕の知り合いなんだよね。
The man's sword drops. Shinji, who was watching from on the other side of the wall, starts walking to the center of the hall with light steps.
よう、久しぶりだな、エミヤ。こんなところで会うとは思わなかったんでね。少しばかり驚いたよ。
The man doesn't move. There's about 10 meters between us. Would I be able to get near him, even if Berserker could not close the distance?
なんだ、ブルって声も出ないのか？まあ、気持ちはわからないでもないよ。僕もライダーの時はそうだった。ああ、そうだったそうだった。いや、あの時は見逃してもらって助かったよ、エミヤ。
There's nothing I can use as a weapon. But I don't care. My mind is clear right now. I don't feel any uneasiness about projecting his swords in this situation.
おい、僕がこっちを見ろって言ってるんだ。
I slowly shift my gaze in his direction. I face Shinji while keeping the man in my vision.
そうだよ。分かってるじゃんか。今ここで一番誰が偉いのかってことがさ。
I gasp a little. It's not Shinji's words, but rather the unexpectedly serious manner in which he says them.
そういうことだ。なら分かってるよな、エミヤ。お前、このままじゃ確実に死ぬよ。
How out of place. Why say something that's so obvious now?
紹介が遅れたが、そいつは僕の新しいサーバントでね。ライダーなんかよりすごいだろ。
Shinji puts his hand over the man's shoulder. And with a delighted face,
命乞いしろよ、エミヤ。少しは考えてやってもいいぜ。
he's such a little bitch. Like, what makes him... I don't understand how he ended up like this. Because, like, it's not like his family had any kind of power to begin with. What makes him think he's so high and mighty? Like, how did he become... I don't know, maybe some people are just born like that. He says some nonsense. I have no doubt. I answer right away without showing any hesitation or showing any signs of even considering it.
そうかよ。それじゃあ死んじゃえよ、お前。
Shinji jumps back. The man, still with a cold expression, finally brings his raised swords down.
そこまでよ。そこのサーバント。指一本でも動かせば、マスターの命は保証しないわ。
And the man stops his sword again. Everyone looks up. Everyone in the hall turns their attention to a girl standing at the terrace. Osaka's hand is faced towards Shinji. Even though Shinji doesn't have the aptitude as a mage, he should know what that means. Osaka is serious. If that man brings down his sword, she will kill Shinji as retaliation.
遠坂、お前までなんでここに。
Osaka doesn't answer, but she just keeps her aim aligned on Shinji.
なんだよ、お前。本気で僕を疎ってるか。この人殺し。
殺したのはそっちが先でしょう。もっとも、どうであれこっちの気は変わらないわ。シンジ、殺す権利と殺される権利は同じよ。そんなこと、人間なら魔術師じゃなくても本能で理解なさい。
Shinji weakly retreats, being glared down by Tosaka. At that, the guy is watching in delight. He looks at Tosaka as if to belittle her. Then, I feel like there was a strange vibration that took over the hall for an instant.
なるほど。俺の打倒はできぬと悟り、マスターを狙ったか。交渉を持ちかけたのは、マスターを殺したところで、俺が止まらぬと判断したからだな、娘。
そうよ。シンジが死んだくらいじゃ、あんたは止まりそうにない。けど、この状況なら考えてもいいでしょ。今ならシンジを救えるもの。あんただってサーバントなら、マスターを失うのは痛手のはずよ。
なるほどなるほど。なかなかの起点だ。そこの雑種を助けたいのならば、その交渉しかありえまい。
The sword disappears. He turns his back to me as if he's lost interest in me.
お前、何のつもりだ。誰が止めろって言ったんだよ。
Are you stupid?
いや、状況が変わったぞシンジ。彼女ならば器としては文句なしだ。
Eh? Shinji's breathing stops. His face, filled with irritation, suddenly turns into a dirty smile.
そうか。 いや嬉しいよ遠坂。君がまだ生きていてくれて。
そう、一応私もほっとしたわ。あんたみたいなのでも付き合いは長いからね。どこかで死なれてたら気落ちするわ。
Laughing happily, Shinji claps his hands. It's strange. Shinji shows no fear even though Tosaka can end his life. It seems like an overwhelming joy is numbing his emotions.
まあいい。それよりどうだ遠坂。エミヤなんてほっといてさ、僕たちと手を組まないか。
僕たち？
そうだよ。君もキャスターが力を蓄えているのは知ってるだろ。竜道寺は今回の祭壇なんだ。そこに陣取られて魔力を蓄えられてるとね、少しばかり不利になる。
Shinji says with both arms raised, but that's an obvious fact. On top of that, it seems like Shinji doesn't know about how casts are obtained Saber in Archer. Saber in Archer, excuse me.
な、わかるだろ。一人でやっても勝ち目は薄いんだ。バーサーカーのマスターは倒したけど、これだけじゃ足りない。遠坂、君がいればキャスターたちにも負けないものが作れるよ。
Shinji invites her with confidence. To that,
お断りよシンジ。あんたが誰とつながっているかは知らないけどね、私から見てもいいように使われているだけのやつについていく道理はないわ。
Tosaka refutes it without a twitching of brow.
なんだって。
Like, this keeps happening to him.
腐れ縁から忠告するけど、もうちょっと周りを観察する知力を養いなさい。的藤真司をマスターだと思っているのはあんた一人だけよ。あんたには魔術師としての才能がないっていい加減気がついたら。
Shinji's face twitches. Tosaka's harsh words must have made him forget that his life is in her hands.
やれギルガメッシュ。エリアも遠坂も皆殺しだ。
I assume he's gonna say no. Shinji orders to his own servant.
なんだよ。やれって言ってるだろ。お前なら僕がやられる前にやるなんて簡単じゃないか。
いや、残念だが時間切れだ。これ以上放置すれば腐ってしまう。
The man shows Shinji, who's closing in on him, the thing in his right hand. A red lump. It is the thing that he took out of the girl, still throbbing. Shinji grits his teeth in vexation.
くそー。後悔するなよ遠坂。もう仲間にしてやらないからな。
Shinji runs toward the front entrance. There's one person left. After that man slowly watches his master being angry.
だそうだ。良い友人を持ったな。
He says delightfully and leaves the hall filled with rubble. And we walk towards her. The center of the hall. With gray sunlight coming from the ceiling, the girl is sleeping, covered in rubble. Her eyes don't open. Looking up close, the girl is not white at all. The girl covered in red all over looks like nothing before.
シローのせいじゃないわ。分かってるでしょ。私たちじゃこの子を助けることなんてできなかった。
Why did they... She said his first name. So I'm confused on why they translated with his last name. Because saying the first name in a context, like in any kind of Japanese context, it refers familiarity. Small detail, but it's kind of odd. I know. I've been taught that there are people I can save and people I cannot save. I knew that I would be putting my own life in danger if I tried to do things that are beyond my capacity. But still, I still wanted to save her. I don't want a child to die. I don't want anyone dying in front of me. Asking for help, not being able to save someone who's asking for help is more scary and painful than anything. There's no way I can apologize, and I don't know her well enough to apologize either. The girl has nothing to do with me. I understand that without having to be told, but why? Why are these eyes crying irrelevant tears?
どうして
遠坂。
どうしてよ。あいつの前に出れば殺されるって分かっていたでしょ。なのにどうしてイリアスフィールを助けようとしたの？結果はどうあれ、イリアスフィールは敵だった。なのにどうしてこの子の死にそこまでしてやれるのよ。
It's not that he can go so far for her sake, it's that he would do that for anybody. Did she seriously just ask me that? It was like his eyes were
ど
serious.
うしても何もない。助けたいと思ったから止めただけだ。
There's no other way to explain it. After Tosaka glares at me.
そう。前から異常だと思ってたけど、今ので確信したわ。シロ、あなたの生き方はひどくいびつよ。
She tries to open the lid that I've kept closed this whole time.
いびつだって。
そうよ。自分より他人のが大切なんて生き方は間違ってる。いい？他人を助けるのは自分が愛されたいからだなんて一般論を口にしてるんじゃないわ。そんな偽善とは別のところで人間は自分を一番にしなくちゃいけないの。そりゃ他人が一番のやつだっている。けどそもそも自分っていうのは計りにかけられない別格なのよ。言うなれば計りそのものでしょ。なのにあんたはその計りを壊してどうでもいい他人を助けようとする。ええ、それでも構わない。あんたが自分のないただ生きてるだけの人間ならそれもいい。けどシロは自分があるじゃない。そんな確固たる自意識があるくせに自分をないがしろにするなんてできないのよ。そんなことを続けてたらいつか必ず壊れるから。
No way. I can't break down. In fact, I do this in order not to. I try to save people that I could not save so that I can hold my head high.
いいえ、もう十分に壊れてるわ、あなたは。だから言ってよ、10年前に何があったかは知らない。けど、あんたがおかしくなってるのは、それが原因なんでしょうから。
Osaka seems like she's got tears in her eyes. Why is she making such a face? It's almost as if she knows that I'm going to spend my life trying to help others without getting anything in return, so she's trying to earnestly stop me.
学校の時もそうだった。あなたはあれだけの死体を見てとんでもなく冷静だった。私でさえ死体と勘違いしたっていうのに、一別しただけでみんなが生きてるって読み取っていた。それがずっと変だって引っかかってた。魔術師としてろくな教育を受けていないくせに、殺し屋になってもすぐに自分を落ち着かせていた。死体を前にして憤ることはあっても、死体そのものに嫌悪を抱いてはいなかった。それはきっとあなたにとって人の死は見慣れたものだったからよ。それだけのものを10年前に見たっていうことでしょ。
Used to seeing. Yeah, it's not like it was my first time seeing them. I think about the students who were on the floor at school, Redder who was unrecognizable by the time she died, and the girls sleeping in front of us now. To me, the people who died in the incident from 10 years ago are the only ones who went through inhuman deaths. But that's wrong. The fire 10 years ago saved me. That cannot be the cause for why Tosaka is criticizing me right now.
違う、遠坂。そんなことはない。俺はただ助けられただけだ。
助けられた？あなた10年前の火事の時に助けられたのね。 それがエミヤ桐次だったの？
ああ、そうだ。ただそれだけだ。あれは原因なんかじゃない。
My heart aches when I answer. My body is telling me that that's a lie.
じゃあ他には何かなかった？ずっと後悔しているようなこととか、助けられる代償にエミや桐次に取られたものとかなかったの？
そんなのあるもんか。桐次は俺を助けてくれただけだ。それに取られるも何もその時は。
I shouldn't have had anything then. I saw many corpses. I died at the time and was reborn. I don't have repentances about the path I took. My eyes lost their hatred. My hands lost their anger. My feet lost their hope. And I lost myself there. So why? How did I gain a strong sense of self-awareness that Tosaka speaks of?
それは
I had accepted death. I knew that I was going to die. Even though my body was saved from such a situation, there was no way my mind could have been saved as well. At that time, I just admired something precious, still empty inside. I remember now. No, I didn't even put it in my memory. That's why I didn't even realize until now that that's what really saved me.
シロ、やっぱり何か契約でもさせられたの？
違う。取られたものなんて何もない。俺はただもらっただけだ。
A world like hell. In place where every person except for me died, I was saved. Nobody saved me, and I wasn't able to save anyone. In my final moment, he granted me something that I thought was a miracle.
覚えてる。俺を覗き込む目とか、助かってくれと懇願する声を、その淵で思ったんだ。自分が助かったことじゃなくて、助けてくれる奴がいることは、なんて。
Such a wonderful miracle. That's why I admired it. I had nothing left, not a single thing. That's why I ended up admiring the figure that appeared right before my eyes.
だから、俺は。
Only had that. That's the only emotion I had while being saved. Hello, life. I was happy. I cried. That's all I could think about. So, that's the only emotion I could create.
ああ、きっと、遠坂は正しい。
It's twisted to prioritize others over myself. There's something seriously wrong with that procedure.
けど、救われたのは俺だけだった。その時に思ったんだ。この次があるのなら、助けられなかった人の代わりに、全ての人を助けなくちゃいけないんだって。
それがおかしいって言ってるのよ。いい？助かったんならまず自分を大事にしろっていうの。死んじゃった人たちには悪いけど、あんただけが助かったっていうのはただの偶然よ。ならその幸運をかみしめなさい。それだけひどい目にあったんだから、あとは楽しくやんなきゃ嘘でしょ。
Tosaka is seriously angry. Yeah, that makes me really happy. I finally realize now that since Tosaka is that kind of person. The question I've been wondering about all by myself. I wanted to become a hero of justice, so I always tried to help others. I noticed there was something wrong with that method, but I couldn't understand what. That became clear so easily. Thanks to the person who gets seriously angry for my sake.
何よ、これだけ言ってもまだわからないわけ？頭くるわね。そんなにわからずやだって言うなら、あんたとのコンビも。
いや、わかってる。言っただろ、遠坂は正しいって。
なら
けど、やっぱり忠告は聞けない。確かに俺は何か間違えている。けどいいんだ。だって誰かのためになりたいっていう思いが間違いのはずがないんだからな。
So, yeah, I answer her with as much gratitude as I can.
まったく。そんな顔されたら何も言えないじゃない。
Kosaka must have felt awkward as she turns her back to me and walks away. And then...
まあ仕方ないか。こうなったらもう私が何とかしてあげるわよ。
She takes a deep breath and sighs and complains. The sun sets. We return to the hall by the time the gray sky is tinted a crimson color. The girl's corpse is not on the mountain of rubble. Kosaka and I just buried her in the courtyard. Perhaps because that's what always happens to servants. The black chance remains had weathered into sand. But even if it was just sand, we still buried it in the same coffin as the girl.
さて、これからどうするかだけど、考えはある？
Not even a little.
考え中だ。事態がまた悪い方に転んだからな。少し整理しないとやってられない。
そうね。最大の敵だったイリアスフィールとバーサーカーはいなくなったけど、代わりにわけわかんないやつが出てきたし。サーバントは7人しか呼ばれないはずなのに、あいつで8人目でしょ？どう見ても既存のサーバントじゃなかったけど、シンジのやつ、どこであんなのと契約したんだか。
The eighth servant, huh? I don't think that man who Shinji brought along can be treated as a servant. Heroic spirit that absolutely dominates other heroic spirits. He has seemingly endless supply of noble phantasms and a demon without any human emotion.
ギルガメッシュ。それって古代メソポタミア神話に出てくる英雄だよな。
ええ、半神半人の英雄。ウルクの王、不老不死の探求者。この世の全てを治めたとされる暴君だけど、まさかあんなイカれたやつだったとは思わなかったわ。バーサーカーをこともなげに倒したことといい、あいつ本気になったセーバーより強いかもしれないわね。
Osaka's voice doesn't sound sharp. It doesn't seem like it's because of the new enemy that appeared as tough. It's because, I'm sorry.
どうしたんだよ、登坂。奥歯に物が挟まったような言い方だけど。
ちょっとね。あいつ確かに強かった。あれだけの数の宝具を持ってるんだから、その力は一級品でしょ。けど実質はどうなのかなって。私あいつとバーサーカーにそう実力差はないと感じてたんだけど。
She ponders. Wait, does Tosaka not realize how strong he is?
いや、あいつ自身はセイバーやバーサーカーと同じか、きっとそれ以下だ。そもそも英霊の強さは召喚された土地での知名度によるんだろ。ならギルガメッシュなんて英雄、こっちじゃ知ってるやつはそうはいないぞ。
それはそうだけど、知名度による実力の変動だってそう大きいものじゃないわ。私にはどうもあの金ピカは反則めいて見えたんだけど。
Tosaka is calling him by a strange nickname. Well, that aside.
いや、だから反則だって。あいつの持ってた宝具はみんな本物だ。いや、そうじゃなくて、きっと本物の。
Because we know stuff already from the other timeline.
ギルガメッシュは
She just like yeah, or Shido is just putting shit together.
贅沢を尽くした王様だったんだろ。なら各地の神話の元になった原点を所有していてもおかしくない。
じゃあ何？あいつが出してた宝具は宝具じゃなくてただの武器ってこと？
だろうな。あいつの宝具自身はきっと蔵なんだ。生前にあいつが集めた財宝を収納した蔵こそがあいつの宝具なんだと思う。
そっか。ならバーサーカーが叶わないのも当然よね。英霊たちにはそれぞれ弱点がある。全ての宝具の原型を持つんなら相手の弱点となるものを持ち出せばいいだけの話だもの。
That's right. If there was a chance of victory, it would be that he has not fully mastered each weapon yet. If he is not the bearer that can master his own weapon to its fullest potential, like Saber or Lancer, then it'd feel like there's still a way to win. All that aside.
まあ、登坂。 本当に関係ないんだけど、なんで金ピカなんだよあいつ。
Blonde hair, I assume.
ああ、いや、それはその髪が金色だったからとか。
何言ってんだ。それならセイバーも金ピカなんて呼んでたはずだ。金ピカ、すごいぞ。実に意味ありげじゃんか。なんか他に気づいたことがあったからそう口に
Did she notice the gold armor then?
ここまで来て隠すなよ。登坂、なんか気づいたんだろ。
ちょっと違うってば。私のは白みたいに真面目な話じゃないから、あんまり追求しないで。
嘘つけ。根拠もなしで金ピカなんて呼ぶもんか。ほら白状しろよ登坂。今は一つでも情報が欲しいんだから。
あ、
I stare at Tosaka. After a few seconds, Tosaka must have given up as she lets out a big sigh.
だからそれは、あいつ高価そうなのいっぱい持ってたでしょ。それでものすごくお金持ちなんだろうなって。だから金ピカ、あの金ピカすっごい贅沢してそうじゃない。
Tosaka scratches her cheek as she looks off into the distance, laughing uncomfortably. How scary! It seems like anyone rich is considered a gold digger to Tosaka. And what's more scary is that Tosaka is able to tell that a servant's true nature just because he seemed rich.
ともあれ、厄介なやつが出てきたものね。8人目のサーバントって時点で破綻してるのに、そいつ自身がジョーカーなんだもの。問い詰めようにも監督役の綺麗は行方知れずだし。まあ今はキャスターの方が大事だから後回しにするしかないんだけど。
That's right. Caster is storing more power as we speak. Saber, who is resisting Caster's control, won't be able to defy any longer. No, in the worst case scenario, there's a possibility that even Saber is on the enemy's side now.
そうだな。イリアスフィールの協力は得られなかったけど、だからといって放っておくわけにはいかない。こうなったら2人だけでキャスターを倒せる手段を考えよ
う。そうね。何のアイディアもないけどやるしかないか。
Tosaka sighs and sits down on the rubble.
まさかお城で作戦会議することになるなんてな。
I follow Tosaka's lead and sit down. Well, we'll be able to stay warm here tonight. We might even be able to find the magical items Elysville had. In that moment that we let our guard down.
やめとけやめとけ。お前たち2人だけで裏をかく？
Huh?
そんなの通用するわけねえだろ。
Who the fuck is this? A fed up voice echoes from the front entrance. We jump to our feet right away and face the front.
いつぞやの夜以来だな、お二人さん。お互いしぶとく生き残っているようで何よりだ。
ランサー。
I quickly concentrate and connect my magical circuits. That man is definitely Lancer. He speared my heart that night 10 days ago. I can't let that happen again. I need to at least let Tosaka escape before he swings that spear.
白離れて。あいつは私が引きつけるから、その間にあんたは2階に。
登坂走れ。あいつは俺が食い止める。登坂は一旦外に。
ちょっと待った。あんた自分を大切にしろってさっきの話全然聞いてなかったみたいね。
Okay, so here's the thing. Tosaka, you weren't listening because he said there's no way that I'm going to do what you just said. That's how that conversation ended. She lowers her left hand. She lowers her left hand that she pointed at Lancer and points it at me. But even if she threatens me like that, I also have complaints.
バカ言うな。忠告は聞かないってちゃんと断っただろう。殴り合いはこっちの役目だ。あいつとは2度目だし、ここは登坂より俺の方が向いている。
けないじゃない。相手は歩兵よ。飛び道具がない相手に飛び道具である私が逃げてどうすんのよ。
だからこそだろ。懐に入られたらおしまいってわからないか。いいから遠坂は遠くから援護してくれればいいんだよ。
バカ、援護なんてできるか。あいにくそんな器用な魔術なんて知らないわよ。やるならあんたごと吹っ飛ばすに決まってんじゃない。
自分の壊し屋っぷりを開き直るな。だいたいどうしてそう何でもかんでも派手めで行こうってんだお前は。たまにはもっとつつましいことやってみろ。キャスターが遠坂はいらないもんって言ったのあんまり無視できないぞ本当。
なんですってこの。
And we argue for a few minutes, trying to push each other away. Just about when we should start wondering how this all started and start to get tired. We notice Lancer observing us with a smile at the entrance of the castle.
あ、もう終わりか。別に急がねえから最後まで済ましちまいな。相手への不満はとことん吐き出しといた方がいいぞ。
I cough in regret and glare at Lancer. I take half a step forward and Tosaka is slightly behind me. Jeez, there wouldn't have been a problem if he had been like this from the start.
ああ、待て待て。せっかく同意を得たところ悪いが、こっちに戦う気はない。見るに見かねてな。少しばかり手助けしてやろうと出しゃばりに来たわけだ。
Yeah, he would have killed us while we were arguing. Hold on. What did he just say?
聞き違いかしら。今手助けをするって聞こえたけど。
なんだ、わかりづらいか。なら言い直すか。お前たち二人だけではキャスターたちには太刀打ちできん。できんだろうから俺が手を貸してやると言ったんだ。
My eyes widen, but Tosaka quickly grasps the situation.
そう、本当に出しゃばりね、ランサー。聞くけど、それはあなたのアイデア？
いや、俺のマスターからの指示だ。キャスターたちがああなっちまった以上、一人きりの身としては協力者が欲しいんだと。ま、連中を潰すまでの共同戦線ってやつだな。
まっとうな理由ね。けど、それなら私たちよりもっと頼りがいのあるやつがいるでしょ。
Is she talking about Shinji and Gilgamesh? Tosaka seemed to be trying to find out whether Lancer knows about Shinji.
いや、あれはダメだ。とてもじゃないが性に合わん。戦力的には申し分ないが、いちいち背中の心配をするのも面倒だろ
う。正しい選択ね、ランサー。けど、それもあなたのマスターの指示ってわけ？
それも違うな。あんたらを選んだのは俺の趣味だ。一度面識がある分話が早いだろう。
He says casually. It seems like fighting Archer and stabbing me in the heart at the same as becoming acquaintances in his mind. Yeah, maybe we did, yeah.
待てランサー。俺はお前に2度も殺されかかった。だっていうのに、お前の言葉を信用すると
Again,
思
he
ってる
could
の
have
か。
killed you very easily during the argument.
思っているさ。お前の参謀はさっぱりとしたいい女だからな。そんな女が手を貸すってんだから、お前だって物好きなお人よしなんだろ。
I frown unintentionally. I'm troubled that Tosaka, who's supposed to be my ally, is nodding at Lance's words.
そういうわけだ。だから協力できるって思ったのさ。ああ、言っておくが、お前たちがじゃない。お前たちなら協力してやっていいとこの俺が思ったんだ。
I honestly can't tell the difference in the way he worded it. It's a small matter. It's a matter of pride, really.
協力しようって持ちかけておいて、選ぶのはそっちってこと？
ああ、初見からあんたのことは気に入ってたんだぜ。美人で強情で肝が据わっていると来ている。女をマスターにするんならな、あんたみたいなのがいい。
Lancer looks at Tosaka with cool eyes. I don't like him for some reason.
いいわ。私は賛成。けどまだ決定じゃない。エミヤ君が信用できないって言うなら、この話はなかったことにするけど。
だそうだ。どうする小僧。お前、器を試されてるぞ。
Lancer looks at me, trying to suppress his laughter. The answer is... Alright, I don't know what I'm supposed to choose here, but I don't mind under one condition feels right. You have to accept his offer. Even if he's an enemy, his argument is correct. Kusaka and I are alone and can't be caster. Sweet. But there should be some hope if we have Lancer's help. However,
わかった。お前の言い分は信じる。けど条件付きだ。キャスターを倒すために手を貸してもらうし、俺たちもお前を信用する。その代わり。
その代わりなんだ？俺のマスターを教えろってか？
違う。仲間だからって気安く遠坂には近寄るな。
The air freezes. Lancer becomes speechless as if we were completely caught off guard.
なるほどなるほど。そりゃそうだ。俺のマスターなんぞよりそっちの方が何倍も重要だよな、坊主。
He starts laughing as if it's the funniest thing he's heard.
なんだよ、悪いか。言っとくけど、遠坂はやらないからな。
まさか悪くなんかね。むしろ見直したところだ。いや、いいね、お嬢ちゃん。坊主、あんたにぞっこんじゃないか。
何言ってんのよ、あんた。私とシロはそんなんじゃないわよ。そう、私たちはただの協力関係なんだから。
そうか？
なんかムカつくわね、あんた。何よその見透かしたような顔は。ほら、シロもなんか言いなさいよ。私たちはただの協力関係だって。なんか言いなさいよ、バカ。これじゃ本当に私たちが付き合ってるって。
だから本当も何もとっくに出来上がってんだよ、お前たち。傍から見てる俺でさえわかるのに、当の本人たちがごまかしてるだな。ああ、こりゃこの先も大変だぞ、少年。
Lancer makes a sympathetic gesture.
まあ、遠坂が大変なのはもう分かってるから。
I reply with a sour look to let him know that there's no problem.
ほう、そりゃ頼もしい。んじゃあ俺もそれなりに気を使ってジョーちゃんと付き合おう。だがまあ、からかうと面白いジョーちゃんなんだな。道中楽しませてはもらうぜ。それぐらいの見返りは構わねえだろ。
分かった。その線でいこう。キャスターを倒すまであんたの力を借りる。
決まりだな。んじゃまあ、とりあえず握手と。
Lancer comes up to me unarmed and shakes my right hand that I awkwardly put out. There were worrying factors, but we were able to retain a royal alibi. All that's left is...
このガ いいわよ。あんたたちなんてこっちから願い下げよう。こうなったら私一人でキャスターをとっちめるんだから。
How can I calm the roused Tosaka down? I like that interaction. That was cute. I walk in the forest at night. Although we don't know what his intentions are, having Lancer's cooperation now means we don't have to stay at the castle. Lancer must have taken a liking to Tosaka as he keeps messing with her and getting hit by her.
ちょっと、あんたね、ちゃんと自分のマスターがいるんでしょ？ならおとなしくしてなさいよ。キャスターを倒したら敵同士になるんだし、話なんかしてもしょうがないでしょ？作戦会議以外はみんな無駄口よ、無駄口。
なんだ、敵になるからって話はなしか？見かけによらず余裕がないんだな。相手が仇であろうと気が合うなら膝交えて語り明かすってのが情だろうに。
いつの時代の人間よ、あんた。そういうね、明日には殺すけど今日は親友だなんてのは今時流行らないの。やるとなったら徹底してやらないと相手にも失礼じゃない。
はあ、そりゃまたつまんねえ世の中になったもんだ。
Lancer never learns. I feel like they've been repeating the same kind of conversation for a while now.
それよりランサー、自分の役割きちっと分かってるんでしょうね。
ああ、梅雨払いは任せておけ。お前たち二人でキャスターとそのマスターと戦うんだろ。俺の役目はアーチャーの相手だ。最悪セーバーもどうにかしなくちゃならんが、まあ抑えるだけなら問題ない。
Lancer speaks objectively. He isn't scared of fighting both Saber and Archer at the same time. Come to think of it, Saber told me that when we were training in the dojo, she said that Lancer is the best among the servants when it comes to just surviving. She praised him, saying that he had excellent agility and plentiful combat experience, and that he would be an impregnable defense if he went into defense. He must have fought many battles from disadvantaged positions when he was alive. That aloof man must be a heroic spirit who ran through the jaws of death many times and survived.
それはいいけどな。敵はアーチャーとセイバーだけじゃない。キャスターの下にはアサシンもいるんだろう。なら最悪あんたの相手は3人ってことになるぞ。
ああ、そりゃやべえな。あの野郎は苦手だ。できれば1対1でもやり合いたかねえ。あの手のやつは遠くから仕留めるに限るが、まあその心配は不要だな。アサシンは教会には現れない。
どうしてそう断言できるのよ。キャスターが竜道寺に戻らないなら門番としてアサシンだって呼び戻すんじゃないの？
いや、アサシンはキャスターが呼び出したサーバントだが、それゆえに制約がある。奴はあの場所そのものに呼び出された英霊だ。竜道寺を離れることはできんし、何よりキャスターが呼び戻さんだろう。あれはキャスターがマスターに黙って独断で召喚したサーバントだ。マスターが教会にいる以上は隠し通すし、おいそれと竜道寺を手放すこともできまい。
竜道寺を手放せない。それってつまり
聖杯の召喚場所があの山だからだろうな。知っているか？聖杯戦争は今回で5回目だが、聖杯が呼び出される土地は4カ所ある。そのうちの一つが竜道寺であり、教会でもあるわけだ。ちなみに3回目の召喚場所は教会だったらしい。4回目はどこぞの平地だったそうだ。
へえ。
How do you know that?
戦ってれば幸せみたいな人だと思ったけど、意外に物知りなんだ、あなた。
単にマスターが小難しいやつなだけだ。お前たちの事情に関心があるわけじゃない。
けどそっか。 じゃあ今回の召喚場所って1回目と同じ場所に戻ったってことなのね。
Kasaka mumbles while she ponders. Lancer watches her with delight and walks on into the dark forest. It's deep in the night, and the date has long since changed. Dawn should be breaking by the time we get out of this forest and return to town. I mentally prepare myself as I walk. We will challenge Caster one more time in a few hours. I won't hesitate, even if the girl has become our enemy by then. We'll defeat Caster. I have to accept that that's the top priority right now. We head to the battlefield. No matter what waits for us for the church at daybreak, we can't stop now. Okay. Before that, there's just one more conversation. Actually, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna break here. So that way we have that's a good place for the first recording. Chat don't go anywhere. We're just gonna keep vibing out. But if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, and the next part will be out either the same day or tomorrow. All right.